Hey, house guests! Welcome to today's Big Brother 23 updates and spoilers. What is going on? Hope you're having a great Monday so far. I gotta say, some stuff has been going down in the Big Brother house. We actually have things to talk about today. Oh my goodness. Our house guests of the day are Huckleberry native Chris Feltz and Alice Show. Thank you so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we appreciate it so much. So thank you again. And if you guys still want to be house guests of the day, we've got 2 of these bad boys left after this. So check out our Patreon link in the info box below. It's only $1 for a holla. And before we get going, I also want to thank yesterday's super chatters because that is also a fantastic way to support this channel and keep us doing what we're doing. So Jody Cortez, Sally Anderson, and Southeast Debris Removal and Recycling. Thank you all so much for your super chats yesterday. And I see we have a bunch of super chatters today. My goodness, you guys. Tommy, thank you so much for the super chat. And he says, thank you so much, Maddie. Thank you for watching with us this season, you guys. It has been a good time as always. Jefferson Tucker, thank you so much. And he says, okay, it's here just in time for finale week. Big Brother Puppet Show Theater flashback video. Yes, absolutely. Post the link in the chat. I will also be retweeting it later. I didn't get to watch it yet, but I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. So thank you so much, Jefferson Tucker. We're very excited to watch it. AR Chan 1785. Thank you so much, as always, for the generous super chats. Jody Cortez, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, from the Hour newsroom, CBS tipster did tape a Kylan exit but won't air it. I would have loved to have seen Julie get her Bible down with him on that. Apparently he's still like standing by what he did in all of his exit interviews. It's a bit much. So I'm really curious to see if he's going to be changing his tune once he is back out in the real world or what. But we'll see what happens there. Thank you so much again. And Steve Schultz, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, thanks for all the great updates. Thank you for watching. And Marty13, thank you so much for the super chat. You guys are really rocking my world. Hey, Romero. Romero says, I sent you a link on Instagram when you have a chance. Thank you. I will be checking that out when I can. I'm sorry. I always fall behind on all my social media stuff during Big Brother seasons, but I am due to catch up on things there. So I will be getting to it. Thank you in advance. All right. So here we go. When we left off yesterday, we found out that Azah won part 2 of the final HOH competition, which means she will be competing against Xavier in part 3 live on finale night. And that is traditionally a questions competition. The last few seasons, they've been making it less random, and it's based on usually the gameplay of the jurors. So like, how many veto competitions did this person compete in? Blah, blah, blah. So stuff like that. But anyway, by the time we ended the spoiler yesterday, it seemed like both were still planning on taking Big D to the final 2, which means it looks like whoever wins part 3 is going to win the whole season, because I don't see Big D beating Azah or Xavier in the final 2. So Big D is really upset about losing yet another competition. He felt that he had no shot of winning this one. He didn't think it was like fair to him. He keeps talking about how much his knees hurt. His skin is melting off of his knees. Blah! He just kept saying that over and over again. So anyway, he's pissed that there's a chance that he'll have to be backpacked to the end by Azah. I think he's also worried, what if Azah doesn't pick me and I go out before her? Because in his mind, he's done so much more in the game than Azah has. In reality, no. But he thinks if he does go to the end with Azah, he's still not going to be happy about it, because he feels like he will automatically lose to her. But he thinks that he will have a shot against Xavier in the final 2. I'm pretty sure he would lose to both. I feel like he should just be happy at this point that he's going to be dragged to the final 2, and he's going to get prize money for doing like pretty much nothing all summer. Anyway, yesterday afternoon, Azah and Xavier were talking about who they would take to the final 2. And Azah says, I want to take Big D to the end. But she says she is also open to any conversations that Xavier wants to have about it. So Azza says, Big D's been putting pressure on me to pick him. He's been asking if I still want to do that. But at the same time, he's also told me that he would want to go to the end with you and not me because he doesn't feel like he can beat me. So Azza says she wants to hear from Big D again who he would want to go to the final two with. Girl, you already know the answer. He has been talking crap about you for so long. But Xavier says if there weren't any deals on the table, he's not sure who he would take to the end. He says, I don't want to go to the end, I don't want to go against my deal with Big D, but now Big D is telling me that I don't owe him anything. He's just saying that. I mean, Big D would be pissed if either of them didn't bring him to the end. So Xavier says, before, I felt like I had to take him, but now I guess I can consider all my options because Big D is saying that I don't owe him anything. Yes, you can consider all two options now. I'm still pretty sure that Xavier would take Big D to the end, no matter what, because he knows he's got a better chance. Like, I think he would beat Big D or Azza in the end, but I think it would be a true slam dunk against Big D. So Azza is talking about how last week really put a bad taste in her mouth with Big D because he kept going back and forth. Like, I don't know if I'm going to keep Kylan or Azza. I don't know. Xavier was talking about that decision last week, and he says, I knew that getting rid of Kylan would be better for Big D than it would be for me. Because remember, Kylan was always saying he wanted to take Xavier to the end. But Xavier says, I would rather have you here than Kylan. Plus, Xavier knows that he would have an easier time of beating Azza than Kylan in competitions and potentially in the final two. So Xavier says, if it bites me in the ass, then it bites me in the ass. At this point, it seems like Azza and Xavier are both just kind of keeping that door open in case the other wins part 3. So they could be like, hey, take me to the end. But if you'll notice, Xavier is much more willing to cuddle with Azza this week than he was last week when he was safe. Ugh. Yeah, it's a little bit annoying. But anyway, later, Big D was working on his final 2 speech for the jury, and it's a doozy. He's got an awful lot to say for someone who didn't do much this season. So just a little sample of it. He's talking about how he put together the Cookout Alliance, which, yes, I think he did play a part in bringing everybody together and solidifying that. But then he was talking about how he managed the Cookout Alliance. Suddenly they had a manager. I don't know. He's saying if there was ever a crack in the group, he fixed it, made sure everybody was still together. I don't know about that. I seem to remember him making a lot of cracks, and then Xavier and Hannah fixing the cracks. But anyway, Big D is talking like he was a leader of the Cookout Alliance. So he's also saying, in this game, I've made it clear that anyone can get it at any moment and no one is safe with me. Every time Big D says that anyone can get it, it kind of makes me laugh because when I hear that phrase, like, oh, this person can get it, that makes me think like you want to get with that person. But the sense that Big D is using it, he's saying, oh, I would take out this person. Also, it's a little bit ridiculous that he's saying this because he never won any competitions to make any moves. So, like, who cares if you were telling everyone, like, oh, you're not safe with me. I could take out anyone at any time. He was never in a position to do that. So it didn't matter. But he is saying that he had such a strong social game. He made personal relationships with everyone. And he says, I was only loyal to my final 2 with Xavier. And when I realized that I wasn't winning competitions, I also linked up with Kylan so that he could protect me and Xavier. And he says, when I got power, I cut Kylan because anyone can get it. He says, no one thought that I would ever do that. And I did. Because Xavier told me to. He says, my social game was so strong that no one wanted to get rid of me. Or was it because you weren't a threat? Because I kind of think it's because you weren't a threat. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. But Big D says he was a part of every decision. He painted targets on people outside of the cookout. And he says, not only did I play a strong social game, but I also played a strong competitor game. To me, that would mean like a comp beast, right? But he's saying, I told everyone that they could get it at any time. He really likes that phrase. He says, nobody brought me this far. I didn't just skate on by. He says, I did all the hard work and planning to make sure that I would get here. He's really got some other view of this game and how it played out in his mind because that is not what happened. But he says, I don't think the cookout would have gotten as far without me. This speech is going to be a mess. It's also way too long. What do they get? Like 90 seconds outside of the questioning? They have like 90 seconds to state their case and make like their final plea. So, like, I don't know how he's going to fit all this in a minute and a half, but we'll see what happens. So, outside of that, the house guests were killing some time playing cards. They got Jenga, talking about whatever. And then later, it gets pretty freaking wild. Around midnight, the final three were all in the yacht club bedroom. They're talking about final two. And Big D says, I can't secure my own spot in the final two anymore the way that you two can. And he tells Xavier and Ozzy, you got to do what's best for your games. If it is, whoever is deciding who should go to the final two, you got to do what's best for your game. And Xavier's like, well, whoever wins the final HOH should just be able to decide who they want to take. Yeah. I think what he means is like they shouldn't worry about any deals that they've had previously and they should just, decide what's going to be best for them. But anyway, Azza asks Big D, who do you want to sit next to in the final two? So this is what she was talking about with Xavier earlier. She wants to hear from Big D what he would have done. So Big D's like, well, I don't really have a say at this point. I'm not in the final HOH competition anymore. And Xavier clarifies, he's like, I think she's asking, like, if it was up to you, who would you pick to go to the end with? And Big D says, I would stick to my deal and I would pick Xavier. Yikes. He says, that's the only person that I think I potentially have a chance to fight against. Oh my God, he's so delusional. He tells Azza, I can't win against you. But again, my opinion doesn't matter because I can't compete. This is not my decision to make. So Azza says, no, your opinion does matter to me. Oh, is this going to influence her decision if she wins part 3? I got to say, as annoying as it would be for Big D to get money after the way he's played, Azza can beat him. So if she wins that final HOH and she takes Xavier to the end instead of Big D because she's mad at Big D, I think that's a huge mistake for Azza. Like, Big D sucks, but she can beat him. I don't see her beating Xavier. So I really hope that Azza is not going to let this cloud her judgment here. But Big D asks Azza, who would you take to the end? And she says, well, I was always planning on taking you, Big D. And I was not basing my decision on who I could beat in the end. I was basing it on friendship. So Big D says, all right, but we need to remember this is a game, right? This is not RuPaul's best friends race. So Azza says, it's not just about winning the money for me. Azza, stop. Girl, stop. But Big D says, I made the deal with Xavier before you were even in the picture, And this conversation is very awkward. So Azza says, it's one thing if you're just saying that you would go to the end with Xavier because you've had a deal with him since the very beginning. Like, I respect that. That's fine. I respect the deal. But she is bothered that Big D keeps saying that he would lose to her in the final two because that's making it seem like this is not just because of the deal that he has with Xavier. It's making it seem like he's afraid he's going to lose to Azza, and he's using the fact that he had this deal with Xavier as an excuse to be like, I'm sorry, I can't go to the end with you. I got this deal with Xavier, so that's what it is. It's not giving Ozza the good vibes. So Big D is saying, I can't do anything at this point, and whatever I say is not going to be the right answer. Like, I don't know what you want me to say. He says, I'd rather not talk about this stuff at this point because it's not really helping my situation. And he says, you guys need to do what's best for you. I don't want to like kiss anyone's ass. I mean, that's kind of part of the game, but okay. So he says he's really annoyed that he's a sitting duck right now. So definitely an awkward, tense conversation after Big D was talking to Xavier, and Big D is really annoyed right now. Big D says, I hate getting asked stupid questions. I don't have a say in what happens at this point. He feels like he's being toyed with by Ozza, and he's wondering, what does Ozza want me to say? You know, she tells me she wants me to be honest, and then I'm honest with her, and she doesn't like it. So he tells Xavier, I would have picked you if it was my decision. And then Big D starts talking about how he regrets keeping Ozza over Kylan because he says even if Kylan would have taken Xavier to the end, at least he would have like told me and I could have just like enjoyed my last few days or whatever. He feels like Ozza's like messing with him right now and going back and forth on her decision. Sounds a lot like what Big D did to Ozza last week. Also, I don't think Ozza's actually doing that with him. I don't think she's doing that. But anyway, this morning, Big D tells Ozza, you should make whatever decision you feel comfortable with if it is up to you. So Big D says there's no use asking me certain questions because I didn't win the competition. You know, I don't have any say in what happens. So Ozza says, okay. She's clearly not happy with him at this point. But Big D brings up how Ozza knew that he had a final two with Xavier and how she kept saying, like, I'd be cool with third place. I'd be cool with third place. You guys have your thing. That's fine. But later on in this conversation, Ozza brings up a good point. She's like, okay, you keep saying that I said I would be cool with third place. But what about when you kept saying, oh, I just want to make it to the jury and then I'll be happy. Or, oh, I just want to make it to fifth place and then I'll be happy. But now Big D is saying he deserves a spot at the end, you know? So they've both said things like that. But Big D is telling Ozza, I don't want anyone to take me to the end if they don't want to take me for real. So he's also telling her, I don't want to say anything that's going to hurt your feelings. So if you were offended, that was not my goal. I don't know how to say things without hurting your feelings. So Ozza's like, well, I feel like we just shouldn't talk game anymore for the rest of this time because obviously it's not good. So Big D says, I am feeling the way that you did last week. Remember when he was trying to make the decision, do I keep Ozza or do I keep Kylan? And Ozza was pretty nervous because Big D was not making her feel very secure. But I gotta say, he gave her a reason to be nervous last week. He told her straight up, like, I might be voting you out. So Big D brings up the conversation again from last night when Ozza was asking, like, who would you want to go to the end with? And Ozza is clearly getting annoyed here. She's like, hello, I told you that what you said was fine and that I respected your decision. I'm not sure why we're going back to this again. Why are we talking about this again? So Big D again starts comparing this situation to last week's situation. And Ozza's like, no, this is not the same thing. I have not given you any indication that I've changed my effing mind about bringing you to the final two. You are going off right now on your own insecurities. Yes, I do think she is correct there. But they started raising their voices at each other, and Big D's like, well, you questioned me last week, and I said that I would never vote you out. You did say that you would vote her out, and you wanted to vote her out, but X told you not to. So Big D says, I'm giving you exactly what you gave me last week when you were questioning me. And Oz is like, yeah, but I'm not giving you what you gave to me, which was the wishy-washy flip-flopness. So Ozza says, honestly, you have been feeling some type of way since Saturday. Absolutely. Big D has been in a mood ever since he lost that competition to Ozza, for sure. And Big D says, no, I was not feeling some type of way. Don't put words in my mouth. I'm just stating facts. So then after that was pretty much done. And then Big D and Ozza took turns telling Xavier about the argument because he was not in the room for it. And Big D reveals to Xavier he's feeling insecure because Ozza has been spending a lot of time cuddling with Xavier, and he's worried that she would pick Xavier instead of him. And Ozza is telling Xavier that there's some underlying pain there because she feels like Big D believes that she doesn't deserve to be there in the final two. Damn. So, you know what Xavier's telling them? Maybe you two should like keep your distance from each other for the next few days. Yes, keep them separate and make sure you're in the middle so that they will both pick you. Well, I guess it's not up to Big D, but you know what I mean. Make sure that Ozza would pick Xavier and not Big D. So anyway, it's a whole mess. But there is a lot of tension between Big D and Ozza at this point. We've got 2 days left until the finale. How many more times will these people try to wreck their own games before that? It is a freaking mess. All right. So I want to thank you all so much for being here today.
Are you taking me to the end?
Yes, of course.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm taking Bowie.
Oh, no.
Bowie, come on.
How could you?
Yes, Bowie. Okay. I know that you would take Bowie over me, too.
Yeah.
Bowie, baby.
I couldn't win, though.
Oh.
Never.
Bowie would win. Okay. So I want to thank all of our super chatters. Okay. Tommy, thank you so much. Jefferson Tucker, thank you so much. And again, you guys, check out the beautiful compilation video that Jefferson Tucker has put together from some of our past puppet theaters. I'm honestly a little bit afraid to watch, but I'm also excited.
Jefferson Tucker is
a gem.
Master of video.
Yes. I'm very excited to see what puppet shows you have chosen to pull from.
What he curated?
Yeah. Honestly, though, I am a little bit nervous. I hope I'm not going to be cringing at myself, not at you. But thank you, everybody. Check it out. AR Chan 1785, thank you so much. Jody Cortez, thank you so much. Steve Schultz, thank you so much. Marty 13, thank you so much. Sheena 123, thank you so much. And Sheena asks, did you hear about Cheryl Burke testing positive for COVID? Yes, I feel so bad for her. I hope she's going to be okay. Hopefully it's just, hopefully she doesn't have any actual symptoms.
Well, I mean, if she's like fully vaxxed, it's probably going to be okay.
Yeah, hopefully it's just like a mild breakthrough case and she'll be okay. But I guess the new pro will be filling in for her probably, right? Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens there. But yes, that is very scary. Vajrath, thank you so much. And Vajrath asks, which is the best cooking show, MasterChef, The Great British Bake Off, or Nailed It? We love The Great British Bake Off.
Yeah.
And we actually still have half of the first episode to watch because everybody was exhausted the other night and we couldn't make it through. We had some people falling asleep, not because we didn't like it, but because, again, we were really tired that night.
To be fair, the other two shows are good too.
They are.
But like MasterChef is like professionals.
Mm-hmm.
So it's in a whole nother...
It's different, yeah.
And it's mostly entrees and that kind of stuff. And Nailed It is just a goof, which is amazingly fun.
Yeah, we actually just watched it for the first time a few days ago. And it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
It was wild. But Great British Bake Off, there's just something so magical and like wholesome about it. Yeah. It's an amazing experience.
It's such a big part of British culture that
yes.
I really love it.
We love it. Thank you again to Vajrath. Gio Epe, thank you so much. And he says, a special thanks to the first family of reality recaps. Oh, we're almost at the finish line. Thanks for backpacking us to the end of this season. Much love. We didn't carry you guys. Come on.
Get in the backpack, Stinky Pete.
Thank you so much. Michelle C, thank you so much. And she says, oh my God, shut up already, big delusional. Does anyone have a muzzle? That's a great question. Thank you again for the super chat. Jefferson Tucker, thank you so much. And he says, bbpuppets.com. Wait, is that an actual website?
Is it?
Did you build a website, Jefferson?
What?
Puppet Show Theater flashback vid. Is that Wait, did you really build a website? That's wild if you did.
Oh my God, we are so not worthy.
Yeah, but everybody, check it out. John S., thank you so much for the super chat. And Jody Cortez, thank you so much for the super chat. Yay. Wait, Jefferson says yes? Wait a second.
Oh my God.
I'm going to look this up real quick.
Oh my God.
Let's just take a little look-see. Okay, bbpuppets.com.
I'm going to lose my mind.
Okay, let's see. Okay, yeah, it goes to the YouTube video.
Oh my
That's
God.
so funny. Oh my God. It's a redirect to YouTube. You are so clever.
Yes.
I love that. Okay, so everybody check out bbpuppets.com. That's an easy way to get to the video.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yes.
I cannot thank you enough.
We will have to check that out tonight. Oh my God.
I'm scared.
I'm scared too. But thank you all so much for being here. We're going to get going. I got to call Granny and check in with her. So, okay.
Oh my Lord.
Yes. Lordy Lord. All right. We'll see you all tomorrow for the penultimate updates and spoilers live stream. All right. Thank you all so much. Have a good night. And until next time, much love. Here's your awkward sign off. Bye.